Been missing the bang on the drum. Thank goodness Packers gave us a reason to play it this morning. Getting the victory over the lowly Giants yesterday, 27-20, the final at MetLife Stadium. And look, we certainly can dissect all of the things. But at the end of the day, this team needed a win. They found a way to win. They overcame the adversity, self-inflicted adversity, I would say, for a lot of the day. They overcame the injuries and were able to walk out of there with a win, improving their record to 6-3-1. And I will say, for all of the issues that you might be sitting here going, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? How about this? Jordan Love played so well under the circumstances, Gabe. Like, there were a lot of people wondering if Jordan Love was the guy, if he literally could be the franchise quarterback, if he was the guy who could take you to a Super Bowl. And the way he handled everything, the swirling wind, obviously, which we saw affect the kicking game.
Oh, that's what we're going to say?
Oh, they were saying it was bad. I mean, I obviously wasn't there in New York, but they were saying it was crazy.
Sure. But when you miss by that much...
You think it's more than the kicking game or the wind? Right?
Well, the second one was a sweeper.
I mean, the second one started outside the goalpost and went. It's like when you're trying to throw it on the outside corner and it gets away from you. You just kind of pull it a little bit. That's exactly what happened. Had no chance of going in.
We'll dive into that as the show goes on, but I want to focus on Jordan Love here because I thought that what he did, given the and I'm going to keep caveating it with given the circumstances, because when your wide receivers are dropping balls at the rate that they were yesterday. What did you say? ESPN Stats and Information had it at 9?
Well, so they've got 5 drops.
Five drops. And I know there were the 4 dropped interceptions. So I saw that number rolling around from an offense and defensive standpoint.
I don't think anybody actually tracks drop to interceptions. That's not like an actual thing.
But we
that
saw it
people
with our own eyes.
Yes, correct. And look, if you wanted to be a harsher grader, you could upgrade that to 6 and give one to Christian Watson for the deep ball. ESPN Research gave that a pass breakup for the cornerback.
Oh, nice.
So it was just 5 drops, according to ESPN Research.
But the D-back didn't touch the ball. Or Watson.
Look, Josh,
his mere presence.
Am I here to defend ESPN Research? No, I'm just telling you how they decided to grade it.
I thought maybe, if anything, it would just be an overthrow.
Yeah, no, it was pass breakup.
Okay.
Give him a pass breakup on that one. But for Jordan, again, I think all those questions probably can still, if you are somebody who's having those questions, Jen, those can still exist. Because Jordan was great yesterday, but we've seen Jordan be great in spurts. But he was fantastic yesterday. He needed to be in order for the Packers to win. And, I mean, he was probably, the touchdown pass to Christian Watson's probably the throw of the year for him. But I can't think of one off the top of my head that's better than putting that ball in the spot in which he did with a couple of defenders around Christian Watson. Probably the catch of the career for Christian Watson, too. Kind of a back shoulder in a one spot where he's got to haul it in. Great contested catch. That's what the Packers needed out of Jordan Love. And I think they should be trusting Jordan even a little bit more. He's got to continue to play it like he did yesterday. That's the Jordan Love we need to see more often. I understand you're not going to play perfect 17 games. You're not going to play like that for 17 games. Nobody does. But we need to see that more often. We need to see that Jordan Love. If the Packers want to be a true player in the NFC, that's the Jordan Love that's got to show up.
And that Christian Watson thing that you mentioned, obviously, that is he continues to come back from the injury. That was exciting to see. That gives you optimism headed into the future, obviously, when it comes to Christian Watson. But Jordan Love on the go-ahead scoring drive. I saw this on Twitter yesterday. 4 of 6, 71 yards, touchdown. The big play to Savion Williams on 3rd and 10, I think it was 32 yards. The Romeo Doubs on 1st and 20, 13 yards. And the Christian Watson on 2nd and 7 for 17 yards. Those are the explosive plays that we have talked about when you put the ball in Jordan Love's hands that he can make. Now, again, the guy's got to catch the ball. Like, if there's one glaring issue from yesterday's game, it is what's going on with these wide receivers. Gabe, are they just not good enough? Like when you start out, right, you expect there to be a transition as guys get used to the speed of a game, as they start to figure out the NFL. But these are not spring chickens. These guys have been around. Well, and it's not like Jordan Love has changed. Well, you know, sometimes you can say, oh, he's putting a lot more velocity on the ball. He's making it a lot harder for you. It doesn't seem like that's the case. So how do you explain these guys dropping the ball as infrequently as they are? As frequently as they are?
I don't have any explanation. The way it's come up the last 2 weeks. Going into the game on Monday night last week against the Eagles, the Packers had 5 drops all year. They had 5 drops all year. They had 5 drops in the game yesterday alone. They had a few drops against the Eagles as well. Like, the last 2 weeks, it has just suddenly come out of nowhere. for a team that obviously this was an issue last year. The drops were a huge issue up and down the roster last year. It seemed like it had been fixed. It had been corrected that these guys, and then for whatever reason, I mean, they just had, again, if you want to dismiss Bo Melton's drops last week because he hadn't been playing wide receiver, practicing wide receiver, whatever. But Romeo had 2 yesterday. He's been as sure-handed as it gets. Just Dontavian Wicks looked like he had, even in the back half of last year, it seemed like Dontavian had fixed those drop issues. Continue to rear its ugly head in the game yesterday. You can't have that many drops and expect to win games. The margin for error in any NFL game, as we saw between, again, the Packers are a playoff team, the Giants are vying for a top pick in the NFL draft. I mean, the margin for error in any NFL game right now is so small, you can't be dropping 5 in a single game.
Well, yesterday, the margin of error or the difference in the game was 3 plays. The Savion Williams throw, the Christian Watson touchdown, and then Evan Williams interception. Without those 3 plays, that game goes a totally different direction.
Well, I hear you on those, and I do think those are impactful, but I don't want to ignore Malik Willis either, right? Jordan Love goes out, Malik Willis comes in. We're not going to spend a ton of time today talking about Malik Willis because I don't think he's a factor going forward, barring an injury to the quarterback. But, the fact that he came in there and gave him that change of pace and was able to score the touchdown, to me, that felt significant because Jordan Love goes out. You don't know how long he's going to be out. If they, crap down their leg in that moment or just, 3 and out their way through that series, I think it feels very different, even if Jordan Love comes back in the game. No?
I mean, sure. I still, yeah, that was huge. It also seemed like Matt LaFleur got giddy when Malik Willis came in the game. He said, "Oh baby, here comes the fun stuff," and it was effective. That throw to Christian Watson, the ability for him to hold on to that, I'm not even 100% sure that ball was intended for Christian Watson because it kind of just zipped into his hands and he managed to hold on to it. And those are things we can say he's not the best route runner yet, all that, but the making hands catches and winning contested situations is what we've been looking for Christian Watson a long time.
Oh, God. We've been dreaming 6'4", winning contest, going up and getting balls like he did on both. I mean, again, both those touchdown receptions yesterday.
Yes.
Been dreaming of that.
He's taken a different step than we'd seen previously from him. It's not just the speed and running past everyone. I'll say this now. I'm sick of the Romeo Dobbs stuff. Cut it out. I've had enough. 8 targets, 4 catches. Enough.
So who do you want them targeting instead? I'm assuming it's Christian Watson, and I'm assuming it's Matthew Golden. Continue working because Matthew Golden only had 3 targets yesterday.
Yeah, he didn't play a ton, so it was pretty obvious to me with Golden because I think that Golden needs to be targeted a ton more than 3, and he doesn't get credited for the 4th target, which ends up being a pass interference penalty because that ends up just being a penalty play and doesn't really count in the final tally, but. The snap count for Matthew Golden was way down yesterday, so I think it's pretty obvious they were kind of easing him back in, that the shoulder wasn't 100% and they didn't want to overexpose him in the game yesterday. But as he continues to get healthier, yes, Matthew Golden needs to be a lot more involved in this offense. There was the crossing. It was a great man-beater play that picked up a 3rd down to Romeo Dobbs where, Golden kind of cleared everything out, and then they threw it to Romeo, and he had to run and catch to pick up the 1st down. I would have given just about anything for Romeo and Golden to switch spots on that play. Yes. Just run that little crossing route to Matthew Golden and let him catch and run it, because guess what? He's a lot faster than Romeo Dobbs. He's got a little more scoot to him where he catches the ball. And
is 4.29 fast? I keep forgetting if 4.29 is fast, just like Matt LaFleur apparently keeps forgetting.
It seems like and maybe I'm jumping the gun, and maybe he hasn't proven it enough, but if you just switch those 2 in the routes you're giving them, I feel like the offense looks a lot better.
Yeah.
I feel like they are giving, because of the trust level. Now, I think you have reason to question the trust level with the way we saw. That was one of Romeo's worst games that we saw yesterday.
But there were a couple of times, Josh, where part of it's on Jordan, too. Jordan just, for whatever reason, still blindly trusts Romeo Dobbs.
Right, and that's why I'm saying give those opportunities to Golden so he doesn't have the choice.
Well, but I don't know if he throws the ball to Dobbs or throws the ball to Golden in some of those situations. Because there were a couple of routes yesterday where he's running this in-breaker, and, he's got a little bit of a guy on his hip. But if Jordan throws the ball when it's supposed to be thrown, like he does with Romeo, Golden's got an opportunity. So some of that is on Love as well, because he's got to trust in Romeo that Romeo hasn't held up on his end.
Well, but I was going to say this.
But
It's a
still
little
exists.
tricky, though, Gabe, because, these guys, these quarterbacks, they want to have the security blanket. They want to have one guy in their arsenal that when stuff's breaking down out there, they can look over. It's the Devontae Adams for Aaron Rodgers, right? They can look over. And I think, unfortunately, for Jordan Love, that has been Romeo Doubs. So the argument could be made that, yes, let's pivot to somebody else as the security blanket because he's not holding up his end of the donkey.
Well, what do you do when your security blanket's got a bunch of holes?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You got to find a new blanket.
It's not really security.
You got to find a new blanket.
Security doesn't exist.
Before we move on here, I want to hear from Matt LaFleur yesterday on Jordan Love. He called him gritty. He called him tough. Don't tell Chewy, but it ain't dainty. Here's Matt LaFleur.
It was so gritty and tough. He was under duress, it felt like, quite a bit. And I thought he did a really nice job of just giving guys opportunity to make plays. Certainly had a lot of drops today that we were able to obviously overcome, but just the mentality, because when you hear your quarterbacks in the locker room, that's not a great feeling. And for his ability to come back and play the way he did, I was really proud of him.
So Jordan Love making big-time throws, protecting the football, out-dueling Jameis Winston, which I know doesn't feel like a huge accomplishment, but you knew when Jameis Winston was in there that he was going to throw the ball. Like, it was going to be a different offense from the Giants than it was with Jackson Dart. And look, I actually really like Jameis. I don't want him to be the quarterback, but I actually, every time he's out there, I enjoy watching Jameis Winston play football.
It's hard not to like and root for Jameis. Like, everything you hear about him as a teammate, all the pregame speeches that he makes. But he was also obvious that Mike Kafka wanted to limit Jameis throwing as much as possible because they ran the ball 38 times. 38 times. In a game where, again, he was tight a lot, but he also knew that Jameis was going to put some up there and that the Packers did not capitalize on until the very end when Evan Williams finally held on to one of those interceptions.
Obviously, the Packers dealing with injuries. That's a big reason why you are seeing the personnel out there that you're seeing. And the injury bug did bite again yesterday. Josh Jacobs goes out with an injury early. Fortunately, it seems as though he dodged a bullet. It is not a serious injury, and they expect him to be back. I don't think they gave a timeline on it, but they don't expect him to be out for an extended period with the knee injury. That is very good news. Let us know how you feel about the win yesterday. It did feel a little like, okay, well, especially early in the game, I was like, what's going on, man? Do they know that the game has started? The Packers know that we're playing in this game? Because we had talked about all the dynamics, all the narratives surrounding the Giants and a get-back game and having lost their head coach and how that oftentimes gives a team a boost. And it seemed to do that early on. What was your reaction to yesterday's game? And is Jordan Love now the reason that the Packers are winning games? 800-990-3776. Let us know. We're going to keep talking about Jordan Love this morning, but there's a lot of other things to address. We've mentioned the drops already today. And what about the defense? Was that the defensive performance that you have come to expect from the Green Bay Packers? We'll talk about all of that and more as we roll on here on a Victory Monday. Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Hey guys, it's Jen from Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Thanks for watching our clip. I'm sure it was super informative and educational. I'm just kidding. I love those knuckleheads. And we do it live every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you get informed anytime we drop new content.